I think we can make a start. Your Excellency, Madam Ambassador, Professor Joe Frigieri, Professor Sandro Caruana, Dean of the Faculty, Mr. Mifsud, Director General of Education, Professor Christine Johnston. Welcome. I am honored today to welcome you for the 20th anniversary Learning Summit, and we called it Unlocking Learning Potential. During the past 20 years, Let Me Learn has touched the lives of hundreds of teachers, students, and parents, and has worked tirelessly to help all those that came into contact with this advanced learning system to unlock their learning potential. 20 years ago, two colleagues from the Faculty of Education, attending an international educational conference in Oxford, England, met by coincidence, or I may say providentially, with Professor Christine Johnston, who was presenting her initial findings in an academic forum. After this initial encounter, over a period of 20 years, this relationship became a strong and productive relationship focused on the development and application of the Let Me Learn process as an advanced learning system. This US-Malta relationship of researchers and practitioners sought to answer three basic questions. How do we learn? How can we understand ourselves as learners and use that with intention? How can we communicate externally the internal talk of our learning selves? This team of educators, practitioners, and researchers thoughtfully worked to support each other's efforts, aligning their projects and resources to allow this knowledge to grow. Over the years, we had the opportunity to jointly work together to convene international symposiums, workshops, forums, and work on both academic and practitioner-targeted publications. As a result, they have managed to achieve further collaboration among governmental bodies and educational entities, including colleges and universities. In each instance, members of the Let Me Learn team in the US and Let Me Learn Malta have supported and equipped researchers and practitioners, authors, teacher developers, and educational and corporate leaders. Today, I welcome our colleagues from the United States of America, colleagues that represent different education and corporate entities, educators in schools and colleges and universities. Our colleague from Australia, Bob Grandin, who has come far to join these celebrations. Dr. Luis Marquis and Jose Chela from the University of Tarragona. Our colleague from Austria, Veronika Wilderin Urey. I have also the pleasure to welcome our friends from the Commonwealth Foundation, James, I skip his surname because it's so difficult, and Diane Smith, and our friends from Singapore, Timothy Kenneth Ban. Finally, but surely not the least, I welcome all of you Maltese educators that with you we could turn this process into a powerful tool, a force of educational change in the educational system. Thank you. I now invite Her Excellency, Madam Ambassador Gina Amber Crombie Winston-Lee, to address this delegation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me all right? I am delighted to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Educating young people is such an important job, and I really want to personally thank you all as educators for what you do. Your efforts at unlocking the learning potential are invaluable and very much appreciated. I've learned in the last few days a little bit about Let Me Learn, and I understand that it plays an important part in the development of our youth by putting learners at the center of their learning. We all know that adults in a child's life gain insight into how a child learns best. When children find success in learning, it builds their confidence, increases the likelihood that they will become lifelong learners. In the modern labor market, as we all know, workers can change careers multiple times. They have to adapt and acquire new skills quickly and confidently. And economic progress and educational achievement are inextricably linked. It's a national imperative in both of our countries, all of our countries, to educate every child, to increase graduation rates, and to prepare kids for the next step, whether it's a career or university. I'm proud that Let Me Learn has become an international program. Dr. Christine Johnson's vision has spread to many universities and schools in the United States and in several countries. In Malta, collaboration on Let Me Learn, I understand, began just over 20 years ago. U.S. and Maltese partners recognize that a high-quality education is no longer a pathway to opportunity. It's a key to success. And in my own field, education has been shown to be important in building peace, learning about other societies and connecting with different individuals of different backgrounds, different faiths, different life experiences. Foster understanding. It's the first step toward friendship. Such person-to-person relationships sustain personal and professional contacts. President Obama said, "A great teacher can help people escape poverty and allow them to dream outside of their current circumstances." I urge all of you involved in education to continue to inspire students to achieve. Your contributions cannot be overestimated. You form our young people and shape a more peaceful and prosperous future for everyone. You've all been an integral part of Let Me Learn. Their accomplishments, and I wish you continued success in the years to come. Thank you so much for being here and participating in this important program. Thank you.
With pleasure, now I welcome my colleague, Sandro Caruana, Dean of the Faculty of Education.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Colin. Your Excellency, Professor Frigieri, distinguished guests. On behalf of the Faculty of Education, I wish you all a very, very warm welcome. I'm extremely proud to be here to, in a way, be representing the faculty, also on behalf of my colleagues, in the knowledge of the fact that I've seen this project over time, seen it grow and flourish, and also in the belief that it's a project which has a direct impact on our educational system, and seeing also the contribution that it has given over the past years. the faculty itself has just been through a whole restructuring. And we have actually just developed a motto, if you like, for the faculty, which is very much in line with what you are working on. Promoting an educated public in a participatory democracy. This in itself, of course, involves unlocking learning potential, which is the theme of your conference. We can only move towards a more educated public and create a participatory democracy if we unlock learning potential. So I'm especially intrigued even with the word itself that you have chosen as the main theme of your conference, potential. Because potential is at the very heart of education. It covers both the individual and society. Sometimes it may also be overused, but it's definitely an extremely important term. It has also Latin roots. The word potere means both power, noun, and also as a verb, I can. And this is a beautiful, in a way, analogy, because of course, empowerment is also related to the very fact of being able to do something, which is obviously the unlocking bit, which I hope that you will be working on in the coming days in order to find the key. And we hope that when we will eventually move ahead also in this field, it will also reap benefits, of course, to education at large, especially locally, may I add, where unlocking learning potential is especially important, especially among younger children. On a more personal note, on behalf of the faculty, I sincerely thank the Department of Inclusion and Access to Education, my colleagues, Colin, Elena, and Barbara. A special thanks to Colin, because I dare say that Colin has dedicated practically all of his academic career to Let Me Learn, to the extent that his name is almost synonymous with it. Here in Malta, you say Let Me Learn, and you get Colin. Or you get Colin, and you say Let Me Learn. But this is not a negative thing, Colin, let me be clear. It's a plus, and you should be proud of it. A warm welcome to you all. I really hope that you will enjoy your stay here in Malta. I really hope that you will also get some time to see a little bit around, and hopefully also to enjoy a little bit of our very warm weather, maybe excessively warm weather, but the sea is only a stone's throw away. Thank you very much.
I would like now to invite Mr. Ian Mifsud. Mr. Ian is the General Director of Education in Malta. He is the big man. Our big man.
One off. Thank you. Thank you very much. Not necessarily so much, but anyway, hopefully we'll live up to the expectations. Particularly when we learn that we have to address such a laudable audience just 2 minutes before I have to do it, but anyway. Your Excellency, professors, colleagues. The complexity of our mission of education in itself is as intricate as life in all of its wholeness, because it deals with, in fact, the whole of our existence, you know. What is education after all? It's the rearing, it's the fostering, it's the bringing up of an individual. It's not teaching. It's bringing an individual in terms to himself and to his surroundings. It is the way that our cognitive and affective domains interact together with our life experiences and contexts that shape our baggage, making each and every one of us a unique individual. Our greatest challenge as educators is to recognize this individuality in those whom we serve, and hence create the required climate and related circumstances to meet the needs of every individual. As most of you will know, well, most of the local people will actually know, others perhaps might know less, we're actually currently striving hard to work towards a more tailored approach, with departing as much as possible from a one-size-fits-all sort of program, and move closer to a more tailored approach, which in itself is very, very complex, because we obviously need to ensure that any sort of part or program that anyone is to be offered needs to meet the quality standards that we all expect, irrespective of the path or sort of journey that any individual may endeavor upon. all of the work we're currently striving for, particularly in the learning outcomes framework that we're currently developing, in consultation with so many colleagues, is actually aimed at giving all of the tools required. But as its name implies, the tool is what it is, simply a tool. It needs to be as sharp and as handy as possible, but then it depends on the craftsmanship of whoever will be handling the tool. And I believe that training programs such as this and every other efforts that I know that Colin and his team in the Let Me Learn program have been embarking upon throughout these years actually help us mold better every individual educator to use the tools that we're trying to develop further. So thank you very much, Colin and your team, for all of this hard work that you've been doing. We welcome any such initiative, and as you know, we'll be always ready to support any initiative in this direction. Thank you very much for all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mifsud. I now would like to invite Professor Joe Frigieri, Pro-Rector of the University of Malta. Professor Frigieri.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Rector, Professor Juanito Camilleri, I welcome you all to this International Learning Summit, marking 20 years of collaboration between the US and Malta, and bringing together educators who, over the years, have successfully researched and implemented the Let Me Learn process. Here in Malta, the process, as you know, is a joint initiative between the Faculty of Education at the university and the Education Directorate. Close collaboration between these two local institutions has enriched the learning experience of a large number of students and educators alike. Aspiring teachers have been trained in the Let Me Learn process while studying for the Bachelor of Education degree, while educators have participated in the annual training sessions offered by the Let Me Learn Malta Center and have been certified as practitioners. The Let Me Learn Center has helped hundreds of Maltese students to embark on a journey of self-discovery as learners. Driven by the need to improve Malta's educational human resources, the Let Me Learn Center persists in its endeavor to disseminate the process and make its benefits and opportunities available to the widest possible cross-section of our students and educators. One of the stated aims of the Let Me Learn process is to help teachers and learners appreciate and embrace diversity in its widest sense. This is an ideal we should all share. Still, as recent events have shown, there's still a lot of work to be done if we are to translate theory into practice in this and other areas. Educators play a crucial role in bringing about the required change, and they need all the support we can provide to help them cut through the barriers of racial prejudice, socioeconomic status, background, and low motivation, in order for them to be able to focus on the learner's attitudes and abilities. The need to provide this kind of support is even more strongly felt in these days of radical demographic shifts, when our schools are witnessing a sharp decline in the birth rate among the local population on the one hand, and a constant increase of children from other EU countries, as well as an unprecedented influx of third country nationals on the other. Our teachers need to be well prepared and equipped with the necessary skills in order for them to be able to cater for the educational needs of children coming from such a wide range of cultures, embracing different religions and speaking different languages. Faced with statistics of underachievement on the part of so many young adults at crucial points of their school career, educators might feel discouraged and tempted to give up. This is why we need to offer them new ways of looking at the teaching and learning process, emphasizing the strengths rather than the weaknesses of each particular situation, and giving them the necessary tools which would enable them to explore and exploit possibilities for growth rather than being overwhelmed by real or perceived problems and deficiencies. A quick look at the program of this international summit should give one an idea of how you think these aims could be achieved. You will be looking at ways of dealing with linguistic and cultural diversity. You will be hearing about inquiry-based instruction in the sciences, school leadership and ways of creating a trusting environment between members of staff, modifying children's behavior to assist in classroom management, monitoring process at the tertiary level, as well as making good use of online facilities to promote and develop education as a lifelong experience. Your overall aim will be to show how one can unlock learning potential through best educational practice and reform, how to make teaching and learning a profitable, useful, and at the same time enjoyable experience. As a university, we are happy to note that Let Me Learn is venturing into the corporate sector. The university is well aware of the need for organizations within the corporate sector to become fully fledged learning institutions. We strongly believe that knowledge can enhance our economic and social well-being by providing corporate business in a wide range of sectors with the necessary tools to develop in that direction. The University of Malta is keen to continue to offer its support to the Let Me Learn process. We sincerely hope that our collaboration, both with the United States and locally with the Education Directorate, will continue to grow and be emulated in other areas. It is our ambition to locate a research area within the Let Me Learn Malta Center in the near future in order to support and strengthen the work that is already being done there. A research area would give the Let Me Learn Center the possibility to provide tangible evidence of the success stories that very often remain confined within the classroom and are known only to those who have participated directly in the process. We need to share these success stories with the public at large and with the widest possible range of learners and educators. Dear guests, I conclude by expressing my hope for this learning summit, Unlocking Learning Potential, to be a positive learning experience for each and every one of you. Thank you for your attention and good luck.
As the executive director of Let Me Learn in the United States, I'm extremely proud and excited to be here and to be a part of this. And the PowerPoint will not be as sappy as I am right now. So.
Yes, this is a celebration of people. Let Me Learn is not on paper. Let Me Learn is not something that we write about and we forget, but it is a process that touches the lives of people and a celebration of this. We are here to celebrate these lives that were touched, including mine, that I must say over this years have changed through my understanding of myself. So we celebrate together. We celebrate also through sharing of knowledge that we're being sharing during these days together.
It's also a celebration of achievement. 20 years is a long time, but it's also a celebration of the achievement of those who have been touched by the process, whether they are students, whether they are teachers, whether they are individuals in the non-education sector, and who have been able to use the Let Me Learn process in their own personal lives and in their workplaces. And so we celebrate that long list of achievements.
It is a celebration, after all, of learners and of the learning process that these learners have gone through. You will see some numbers. They look big. When we try to calculate, we're saying it couldn't have been that we touched so many lives. But yes, they are there. They are there because we've touched the lives of teachers. These teachers also passed it on. And therefore today we're here to celebrate these learners, this process of learning.
20 years. 20 years, it's quite a track record. And it's for this nonprofit, this NGO that was established to make a difference each day, all year, one learner at a time. So Let Me Learn began with an idea. And while I've only been the executive director for about 8 years, I was there at the very beginning, sitting at the kitchen table. It began with an idea and a willing school leader and a band of teachers in a small school rural setting in southern New Jersey. It has grown from 20 students in 1994 to just under 10,000 students per year by 2005. And now, another 10 years later, Let Me Learn is reaching 25,000 students in a year at just one university. And the fastest area of growth is found among the middle school students and first-year college students.
A few years back, we had also embarked in a European project, the Grundvik project. And there, we also touched the adults, or trainers of adults. And here today, we have, in fact, some individuals who actually got trained through this Grundvik project. It was a very successful experience. We had the opportunity to work with these individuals that worked closely to adult learners.
And Let Me Learn in the US has been working in the corporate world with adults and has in the past 5 years entered into serving displaced workers and those seeking to return to the workforce.
So now we're going to show you some of the people who are here celebrating with us, but they are here also so that together we learn. So when I call a name, please show yourselves so we get to know. These are some of the pioneers, the first pioneers. Her name, first of all, is not here on my paper, but we cannot but call Christine Johnson to stand up as the pioneer of all this. Judith Bronston is another pioneer, was there from the start. Judy. Eileen Brannon Randall. And Jane Berger. Where is she? Their presentations cover a variety of primary and secondary school pedagogy, leadership, and classroom management issues. They have been working in these areas. They have been instrumental in making this process grow into what it is today. 10 years ago, the US ambassador to Malta recognized Let Me Learn's work as an effective, quiet diplomacy, a type of democracy that encourages nation-state collaboration, focusing on the development of its citizens through education.
So Let Me Learn is used in 27 colleges and universities worldwide, and some of the highlighted ones that we have here, University of South Florida in Tampa. Dr. Pat Mayer, who could stand up. She will be addressing us tomorrow afternoon, and she has worked extensively with first-year students. And also, I want to recognize Donna Jackson or Dr. Donna Jackson and Dr. Lisa Webb. We'll be talking about them in just a minute, but they'll also be doing a presentation tomorrow.
With us, we have also from Tarragona, Spain, Luis Marquis and Jose Chela. Please. They have taken this process into Tarragona, Spain, at the University of Rovira i Virgili. We have worked with individuals in Holland, Peru. We had the opportunity to go and deliver training there at Lima, Peru, and in Perugia. Unfortunately, the person from Perugia couldn't make it this time. She had other conflicting appointments that she couldn't make it. So these are people who, again, have worked in various fields through Let Me Learn.
Let Me Learn has also gone into to online instruction. You'll see Ashford University is a very large online university in the United States. And they actually now have decided that after the 18-month pilot of having a Let Me Learn mandated 5-week course on learning, that they are now going to mandate it so that all of their students take it at the very beginning before they hit the rest of their academic courses. So, and we do have an online, one of our online instructors, Kendra Weber, will be from Winona State, will also be doing a presentation. And we also have, Let Me Learn has really gone into some other careers. People who have picked up on Let Me Learn have always come back and said, well, I would like to try it in this aspect. It might be counseling. It might be marital counseling. It might be workforce development. It might be in the health sciences. And so you'll be able to have a chance to hear from Dr. Webb and Dr. Jackson about that tomorrow. So but that is part of our work with Virginia Commonwealth University. You only need to look at this quote as an example of the effect that Let Me Learn is having in higher education and first-year students. One of our latest and greatest projects is our charter school. And that has come to be, that has come to be because of the vision and determination of Jane Berger, who should stand up again anyway. When I came on board, there was the concept of a magnet school, a Let Me Learn school. And so we, for 2 long years, worked on having a charter school in the United States, its purpose being that it would be a lighthouse school, a school that would allow Let Me Learn and the Let Me Learn process to shine through. Its startup was difficult, its startup was rewarding, and it has continued to meet the challenges over and above your normal school operation. I'm sure many of you know what those challenges are, but also to continue to communicate that Let Me Learn and the Let Me Learn process is not something separate, it is an integral part of who we are. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did have this opportunity recently to visit the school. It's interesting to see a group of teachers dedicated to learning and to the learner. And maybe this is something which is normal, what should be normal in every school. The center is the learner. The school has strived and is succeeding to make the learner the center of all its activity. And I must say that this was a magnificent experience, seeing these children learning about themselves, talking about themselves as learners. We had the opportunity also to read some Maltese stories to them, so they enjoyed it. And we had also the opportunity to have 2 Maltese children authors to Skype with a group of children while I was there in the US and we were Skyping here from Malta. So I think this was a brilliant experience, and where you see where the Let Me Learn leaves its impact.
And I want to point out that, again, the 2 people who are the movers and shakers of the Compass Academy Charter School, that would be Sue Little, who should stand up, no, you know by now, there you go, and Jane Berger, one last time. Thank you. If you get an opportunity, talk to them, pick their brain. They're always looking for new information and ideas. And as Colin mentioned, we've also given an award to the new, and we usually give an award now at the Compass Academy Charter School for the teacher who has really embraced the Let Me Learn process. And last year she was, a first-year teacher? And yet, based on this quote as well, does not matter what your experience is, because you can still recognize the difference that Let Me Learn makes in teaching.
I would like now to ask some of those who have gone through the Let Me Learn training as trainers, people who have been working in Let Me Learn here locally in Malta, who have given a lot. You will be seeing them going around like marble down a hill. Graziella, please. Valerie, she thought I forgot her name. Tanya and Sarah. And Sue is already standing up. There are a number of you here. I'm seeing Michelle Tartona, who has been working with Let Me Learn for a long time. Now she is in the directorate working on the learning outcomes framework. And others who have been trained. I'm also seeing here Jackie McCullough-Grimaud, who has been part of the Grundvik trained. So yes, this is an experience. They are all different characters, but they all work with the same intention: learning and the learner.
I will not challenge myself to remember everyone's names that have come from the US and has been trained, but those of you who have gone through certification, if you could please stand up. We also have quite a few scholarly dissertations, and you will find a fairly comprehensive list at the back of the program. And I encourage you to, you can find them on Let Me Learn's website if you're so interested. There you go. Oh, and I did want to add, I'm sorry, that Dr. Lisa Webb's dissertation is the latest. It actually came from a team of 3, and so if you're looking for really, really fresh research, which might sound like an oxymoron, but it isn't, you'll want to talk to her. We do more than just research. We have lots of publications for schools, publications for those who are looking for work, those who are looking for success in college. And finally, I want to let you know that this body of knowledge and practical tools is the only one of its kind. It's based upon a unique body of knowledge such that it was able to earn the recognition of a registered trademark, a designation that its intellectual property is worthy of protection under the US and international copyright and patent law.
We're coming now to an end, and I would like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Mark Micallef, Ambassador to Spain. During his tenure as Ambassador to the United States, Dr. Micallef has come to know Let Me Learn. During this time, he has continued to keep contact also with Christine, who over time they became personal friends. And I would like to invite him to close this today's celebration, so that you bring us then to the end of today, beginning of tomorrow. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's with a great deal of emotion that I've got this forward to this book, which Christine had asked me to contribute to, because there's perhaps no greater honor in the world, as the ambassador to the United States can vouch, than to be the ambassador of your country. In my case, in 1995, I was a young man, and I was suddenly thrust on this incredible journey of becoming ambassador of Malta to the United States. And I had to unlock some of the problems that existed between the greatest country on earth and maybe the smallest one. But also a significant one, and one that has become a strategic and meaningful friend to the United States. And Christine was a great inspiration to me. She wouldn't hesitate to wake me up at 2:30 in the morning and drag me somewhere where I had to do some work which she thought was not yet ready. And there you are. I remember having to. I don't think I should bother you with reading all this out, should I?
It's up to you, sir.
Well, I don't. Well, I will. All right. This foreword went as follows. The reader might well ask why the ambassador of Malta agreed to write the foreword to a book on learning. I have chosen to share my views on learning because I was very aware of how we frequently fail to see that for many children, too many children, just entering a classroom is a real ordeal. I have chosen to write the foreword to this particular book because I believe that the Let Me Learn process is the best way to address our orthodox educational system, which can be most unforgiving. In contrast to the monolithic educational system, which enslaves the student, Let Me Learn frees the student to be a learner, to become a learner, who uses his or her learning cleverness. The freeing of the learner begins when the teacher and learner form a learning partnership. In such a partnership, the teacher unfetters the learner within the child, allowing, as Michelangelo said, the image that is already there to emerge from this piece of marble. What this text on learning vividly describes is the power that is released when students possess knowledge about their learning and are free to use it within their classroom. In my case, it was my mother's friend who served as a brilliant source of inspiration and most of all courage to me as a learner. Without this partnership, the story that follows would have had a very different ending. To this day, I can remember how as a little boy I dreaded school. The day was very long. It began with the ordeal of getting on the bus and being driven through forbidding gates towards an austere building. I hated the smell of the school's pristine cleanliness. Upon arrival, we were regimented from one line into another with military precision and then seated in a dismal classroom. The story of my learning stops there. We were given piles and piles of books and an immense amount of homework. My powers of concentration were seriously lacking, and it was difficult for me to stay on track. However, one word, one beautiful sentence got me off to another world. And it was always with a flutter of great happiness and anticipation that I got back on the bus that would take me home until the following day when the same ordeal began again. Fortunately for me, my mother and her dear friend joined forces to form a great partnership that freed and enabled my learning. Working under their tutelage, I found myself in a system of learning that had at its heart the very essence of the Let Me Learn process. Their dedication was primarily to the learner. That was vital for my survival as a learner because I was not the epitome of the students whose diligence showed in neat handwriting and attention to duty. First of all, I was not a willing memorizer of material I found uninteresting. Oh, to be certain, I could memorize. It simply was not the manner in which learning appealed to me. My classmates who had the propensity and disposition to absorb the information being propounded were labeled extremely bright because they could memorize and concentrate. But what some of them were doing was parroting what they studied. And what they knew did not always translate well outside of school, where they were expected to make decisions. Yale's eminent cognitive psychologist Robert Sternberg made this same point when he expressed profound disappointment at the quality of student arriving at his university boasting high IQs and excellent performance on examination, but deficient in what is called practical and creative intelligence. His concern was that these learners, born with incredible powers of imagination and capacity for problem solving, had progressively learned not to think, not to apply problem solving to real life situations. People with successful intelligence, says Sternberg, recognize and play to their strengths while recognizing and trying to compensate for their limitation. The let me learn process does just that. Thus, I have chosen to champion this process because I have experienced the effect of the teacher-learner partnership that is based on freeing the learner to use his or her learning process to the utmost potential. My belief in the message and process of Let Me Learn, however, does not rest solely with my experience as a learner. I'm also a believer because the Let Me Learn process has universal appeal and application. It speaks to teachers, the guardians of our children's learning. This important book helps teachers distinguish between the lesson and the learner, giving primary focus to the needs of the latter. Too frequently, a teacher comes to the classroom with a well-prepared lesson, but the children do not learn as the teacher intended. Perhaps the learner is disinterested in the scope of the lesson or feels that the particular lesson is futile or irrelevant to him. The message of the Let Me Learn process explains how differences experienced in the classroom between the learner and the lesson are frequently due to the learner's inability to see the lesson's relevance, significance, or value. Our reaction to such students is to criticize, label, and then write them off as not confronting to the norm of our instructions. This is not a new phenomenon. St. Thomas Aquinas, for example, was referred to by his teachers as a dumb ox. Anyway, at the time I wrote that my most recent teacher and friend had been my Minister of Foreign Affairs, who has taught me the fundamental lesson of the good diplomat. The bearer of the message must carry the truth faithfully. And I went to the United States with this great, wonderful message, with no hidden agenda, and with a great message of friendship. The ability of the ambassador, who is a mere messenger, is to teach himself or herself when and how to employ that message, so that the truth becomes a fire that can pull and stretch the metal required to build bridges between nations, great and small. Most of all, I wish to thank my friend and teacher, Dr. Christine Johnston, for her efforts to bring before us not just the plight of learners, but a process of hope that lets each child learn. Her words have explained to me how a restless, curious young boy, that same young boy described at the beginning of the foreword, could teach himself to learn whatever was required of him. Therefore, it is the greatest admiration for the powerful message of Let Me Learn that I conclude this foreword. Sorry to have kept you so long with this, but...
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you all. We come now to close, and I think the best way to close a session like this, where we heard so many people talking, is to go and have a drink together and continue to talk. Talk is what brings us together, and drink, I'm not sure whether there is hard drink, but soft drink, for sure. We've seen them there. So please, oh, sorry. I forgot something. They are telling me it's very important. Today, we're launching the book that you have been given as a paperweight. So I would like to ask Professor Kotkamp to say a few words before the drink. Thank you.
I can almost see over you. I was planning this summer to exercise my technical reasoning by working in my garden and my orchard and finish the construction of my flood wall with my mini excavator. And so when the invitation to come to this summit came to me, I blew it off. I want to thank my wife, Ginny, and Dr. Christine Johnston for twisting my arm until I could not resist. I have learned the error of my ways, and I would never again say no. I have been asked to participate in the launch of the 20th Century Anniversary Compendium. This one. Of applied research for 4 reasons. First, I am the Let Me Learn Father Abraham. I begat many contributors to Let Me Learn's inception and its growth. I was Christine Johnston's doctoral advisor. A pleasure which grows and grows and grows every year this process goes on. Now, this is about begatting, and you got to understand we're not talking biblically here. And the way I sort of see this is engaging another person to hold open the possibility of personal transformation through the Let Me Learn process and walking with that person, he or she, as it unwinds. There was no Let Me Learn when I begat Christine. All I could do was to try to open a space for her in which she could grow. And part of that growth was the ability to become Professor Johnston. And one of the roles of professors is to create knowledge. And she started with a real problem of dysfunctional central office administrators and the fecundity of her confluence connected dots that haven't been connected in 2,000 years. And she gave birth to Let Me Learn. Now, I begat other people. I took out my handy-dandy Let Me Learn lunch bag, filled it up with lots of fuel, and have been doing this for about 20 some odd years. And in the compendium are a few of my doctoral students who are not present, but they contributed to this, so I'm proud of that as well. Okay, now we're gonna deal with, we've seen these folks before, sort of. We're gonna deal with the begats. So Bob begat Christine, and Christine begat, and I want you to get up, Judith Bronston. Stand up. Jane Berger. Pat Mayer. And Colin Kalia. Okay, we're not done. We're not done. Judith Bronston begat Crystal Edwards, while Jane begat Eileen Brennan Randall and Susan Little as they began the Let Me Learn Charter School. Colin Kalia, of course, was about begatting as well, and he begat Veronica, Jose, Luis, Bob Grandin from Down Under, the Let Me Learn Malta staff, all of you, come on, you got to stand up, and teachers of Malta assembled here this evening. Stand up, teachers of Malta. Oh, there's got to be more than that. My family is prodigious, and we are not engaging in birth control of this process. The second reason that I was chosen to introduce the conference publication is because who better to talk about Let Me Learn and its 20 years of achievement in written and published research and practices than someone who has the moniker in Let Me Learn circles as Dr. Precise. Words are my friends. Third, as someone who throughout the 20 years of Let Me Learn's life has contributed significantly to the body of Let Me Learn publications through research, conference presentations, published articles, chapter, and even co-author of a book, which isn't here, but I'll be happy to talk about with anybody from Malta. This is the story of my last doctoral student spending a year of her life implementing Let Me Learn in her 6th grade classroom. And it's the inside story. I have firsthand experience in the whole process of getting the word out about Let Me Learn's application, its powerful effects on individuals and the educational system, and to do so, the research with fidelity in both the quantitative and qualitative versions of research. And, as I learned here yesterday, when you're out trying to beget others, and you get this question, well, is there a research base? You slap this baby down, and it is so intimidating, they won't even open it. That gets you in the door. Finally, and this is probably the reason why I was chosen to do this, I've had the privilege of, for the last 3 years, being mentored to and being mentored by a man from Akron, Ohio, who can't join us because his wife won't let him get on an airplane, or he won't come without her, and she won't get on an airplane after 9/11. He is a man of color. He is 5 years my senior, and he is the epitome of what Let Me Learn and its effects are all about. His story is found in the foreword of the compendium. It's on page 3. Please read it. So much of the essence of what's in the rest of it is there. His story is of his own growth through Let Me Learn is very personal, it's very precise, and it's very representative of the message that you will hear tomorrow in the keynote opening from Dr. Crystal Edwards. Joseph Coleman is not a trained educator, but he has spent 15 years in the public schools of Akron, Ohio, an old industrial city on the way down, pushing, pulling, and persisting in working toward student enhancement and achievement and teacher success. In the last year, he has been the facilitator in the Seoul STEM High School. For those of you not from the United States, STEM is the acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. His history is enlightening and inspiring and well worth your reading. Joseph is every man contextualized in Let Me Learn. He is every woman He is every person. My story is also the story Joseph tells. Going through, being transformed, it's a struggle. Bonnie's story is Joseph's story, just in more pages. It's the internal view. Joseph Coleman writes the internal view of what it is to be transformed by Let Me Learn. And I send you away saying, begat your own. Find a space, encounter someone, let them know about Let Me Learn, and go with it. Thank you.
In this forward, we find actually, and I would like to read it to you, this sentence. When he met an educator who became principal and gave him the space to work. And he said this about this person. He reminded me of the extraordinary student learning-oriented Maltese educators with whom I had gone through certification. Valerie is one of them. I believe Sue. Michelle was there, yes. With whom I had gone through certification. He proved to be a Maltese teacher in the sense of the perspective he held, deeply student-oriented and primarily concerning himself with their learning. This makes us proud. I think there's nothing else. I send you again for your drink. Thank you.